How do you weed out the good from the bad? How do you separate the good from the bad? Okay. The reason why I'm asking this is because, biblically speaking, that is what faith is all about. That's what this world is all about. It's a form of test. It's God testing to see if you would do the right thing if He's not there. Of course, if someone held a gun to your head and told you to do the right thing, you would do it because your life is at stake. But that's the thing about faith. God doesn't hold a gun to your head and say, do things my way, right? He's giving us the free will to make our own decisions, all right? So I find it amusing when I hear many people, even atheists, say, why doesn't God just reveal Himself to everybody, show Him that He exists? If I can see that He exists, then I'll worship Him. Of course, because if someone held a gun at your head, of course you're going to do whatever that higher power tells you to do. Okay, but God wants us to believe by faith. God wants to see that if He gives you ultimate free will, that you will do the right thing despite not knowing that He's there. Okay? We're going to be granted much more power in heaven. All right? So God's testing us with a little bit of power that we have on this earth. And it's not really a little bit. I mean, it's all of His power. But we're going to have more authority. We're going to have more understanding, I guess you could say, in which we could utilize that power. So that's why God doesn't reveal Himself to us directly. But once you take that leap of faith, you will start seeing a relationship building with God. Before I ever really got into Christianity, which was about like 3 years ago, I never had a real relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay, and my first week, after I got baptized, I heard a voice talking to me. It was on a Sunday morning, and I was in that kind of state where I was up, and I knew it was Sunday, and I knew I had to get ready for church, but my eyes were just kind of closed, and I was thinking, maybe 5 more minutes with my eyes closed. And that's when I heard a voice, and the voice said, "The breath I breathe into you comes from the living water." And when I heard that voice, I got up real quickly, and I said, man, I need to go to church today. I can't be slacking off. So, I mean, there is a relationship to be had, but the relationship starts building whenever you place your trust in God. And when you place your trust in God, God then can place His trust in you. So God kind of wants to test us. He wants to weed out the good people from the bad people. He wants to weed them out, because if He was there in person and was, revealed Himself to everybody, of course everyone would try to worship Him. Of course everyone would do what He says. But He wants to see how we will use the power that He gives us in the next life. Is He going to be able to trust us? And of course, God is all knowing. He knows, but He wants us to be able to live out the plan. It's one thing to know, and it's another thing to actually let things to occur, to take place, which justifies the plan, okay, or what He knows. The action justifies what He knows. So that's what we're doing right now. We're living it out, and we've already made our yeses and our nos. We've already made our decisions as to whether we want to reject God or to accept Him. That was the only choice to be had. And another thing I want to cover is concerning Satan. What does it mean for us Christians, or for the whole world, if Satan exists? And it simply means that, the Bible describes Satan as the father of all lies. He's a liar. He itches your ear. He tells you what you want to know to make you feel good instead of telling you the truth. That's what Satan does. That's why a lot of people who are atheists or LGBT, they're nice people. They soothe your ears. They tell you nice things. But they don't tell you the truth. They don't tell you the ethical truth, the objective truth set by God. So you got to be careful, because this whole world, if the Bible's true, that if God exists, then the devil exists. And if the devil exists, then that means the devil has dominion over all the nations of the world. He has dominion over all the governments. Just remember on the mountain with Jesus, he said, bow down to me and I'll make you king over all the kingdoms of the world. And Jesus said, no, get back from me, Satan. You should only worship the Lord your God. So we know that Satan has a lot of influence in government affairs. And a big influence is in the science community. And in the science community, they're teaching you things that is purely skeptical. Purely hypothetical. There's no evidence whatsoever for what they're claiming. For example, evolution. They have no evidence of it taking place. They can't show you how it takes place or why it takes place. They can kind of tell you things about adaptation or diversity, which isn't really evolution, at least not the evolution that Darwin talks about, which involves macroevolution, in which new information is added into the genome, which there's no evidence for. As you've seen the video with Richard Dawkins trying to answer that question, how did he respond? He said, we don't come from fish. Fish are their own species. They're just as advanced as we are. What kind of answer was that? We simply want to know, is there any evidence of any animal's genome increasing in information? And we know there is no evidence whatsoever. They can't even duplicate that process. They can't see it happening. And there is no chronological order to be able to distinct this animal from this animal. For example, like they say, we derived from an organism that lived in the ocean. There is no fossil record of that organism evolving to another organism, which evolved into an ape, after millions of years, and then which evolved into us. There is no chronological order. They have fossils of fish, of four-legged creatures that kind of look like fish, but they have no process, no link between those. There's no deformities. There's no transitional fossils between those two types of species. So we can only assume that they are their own species. So if Satan exists, it means that the science community is spreading out lies. Okay, because Satan has control over the government, over so-called knowledge, education, indoctrination, all of that. And so as Christians, what we need to do is to question everything, okay? Question everything that we're being told. Only base it on what we can actually see with our own eyes. And I'm not talking about video, because anyone can make CGI video or whatever. How they make movies and stuff. All that's fake. They can make videos like that and say, see, this is true. No, you have to see it with your own eyes and use your logic. Look for logic online. There's a lot of neat articles and stuff that actually provide real logic and not just numbers and figures. There's a lot of articles that provide just numbers and figures, and they expect you to trust them that this means that, or that this means that the C14 means something like, has any significance. They just expect you to believe it. No, that's indoctrination. You should be able to use your own logic to understand whatever theory is being thrown at you. You should be able to actually observe it, to see it happening. So that's all I got to say. All right. So be careful with the indoctrination system in any government that you live under. Okay, because they're all under the same father, which is Satan, the father of lies. And Satan's job is to be an influence on us, to kind of test us, in a sense, to test us to rebel against God. And God's trying to weed out everybody to see who's going to follow Satan and who's going to follow him. So I pray that you have a blessed day, guys, and take care.